Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. How is your life? I hope all of you are in a good condition. Amin, amin, ya rabbal alamin. Okay, today I will summarize my material about psycholinguistic subject from 1 until 5 materials that my lecturer has been shared and learned to my class. But before that, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Raihana and I'm the 5th semester of English department of EIN Madura, especially in E class. And this video to fulfill my assignment from psycholinguistic subject. Okay, for the 5 materials that I will summarize to you is about the first material is introducing psycholinguistic, and the second material is about language and brain compound words, and then the third material is about language center, and then the fourth material is about lateralization and contralateralization, and then the last material is about aphasia or language disorders. Okay, let's start from the first material is about introducing psycholinguistic. Psycholinguistic consists of two words, psychology and linguistic. Psychology comes from Greek roots of psyche and logos. Psyche means soul or mind, and then logos is a word or study. So we can say that psychology is the science of human behavior and mental processes. Behavior is anything we do, and then mental processes are internal expressions such as thought, memorize, feelings, and others. And then about linguistic. Linguistic is the language. So, if we combine two words, psychology and linguistic here, it is become psycholinguistic. So, we can say psycholinguistic is the study of how the brain processes language. It is about psycholinguistic. And then, there are 4 scopes of psycholinguistic. For the first is acquisition, for the second is comprehension, for the third is loss, and for the last is production. Okay, let's continue. For the second material is about language and brain compound words. In the PPT that my lecturer has been learned and shared to my class, said that psycholinguistic investigates the mental mechanism underlying language processing, such as how to perceive words and store them in the mind, how to understand a sentence, how to learn to read, and how language and writing systems influence mental organization. So from my explanation, we can give the example or an experiment to do, such as there are 3 words, red, blue, and green. The word red print in the blue ink instead of red ink. So, when you read and say fluently, you need long time to read it correctly because more prone to error when the color of ink doesn't match the name of color. So, in this experiment shows that the ability to control behavior. So, it can code language and compound word and brain compound word. And then the third material is about language center. In the PPT that my lecturer has been shared and learned to my class, there are 3 language center. For the first is Broca's area, for the second is Wernicke's area, and then the third is angular gyrus. The first is Broca's area. Broca's area is located in the left hemisphere. in the left hemisphere. And then Broca's area is associated with speech production and intonation, such as how speech sounds are made. And then the second is about Wernicke's area. Wernicke's area is involved comprehensions of word, selection of word when produce word, such as understanding the language like grammar, semantic, and other. And then the last of language center is about angular gyrus. Angular gyrus is located in close proximity to other critical brain regions. And then angular gyrus associated with too much spoken form of a word with object. Okay, let's continue for the next material is about lateralization and contralateralization. In the dictionary.com, lateralization is localization of function attributes to either the right and the left side of the brain. So, after I give the definition to you, maybe you have question what the differences between lateralization and localization. Localization is different human cognitive abilities and behaviors are localized in specific parts of brain, and then lateralization is any cognitive function that is localized primarily in one side of the brain. And then about lateralization is divided into hemisphere, right and left. Right is about music processing, holistic reasoning, and others. And then left is about arithmetic and others. So how about contralateralization? Contralateralization is connection between the brain and the body are almost completely contralateral. So, right hemisphere control left side of body like this and visual field, and then left hemisphere control right side of body and visual field, so like this. So this is about lateralization and contralateralization. And then for the last materials is about aphasia and language disorders. Language disorders is a damage to one of these areas will affect the ability to produce or perceive language. And then the aphasia itself is any language disorders due to brain damage caused by disease of trauma. There are three kinds of aphasia language disorders that I will resume. For the first is Broca's aphasia, for the second is Wernicke's aphasia, and the last is conduction aphasia. For the first is Broca's aphasia. Paul Broca said that Broca's aphasia is the damage to the front part of the left hemisphere result in loss of speech, such as when examiner asked to the aphasic like that, "Tell me, what did you do before you retired?" And that aphasic said, "Oh, bartender," like this. So, Broca's aphasia is unable to express themselves by more than a single word at a time. And then the second is Wernicke's aphasia. Wernicke's aphasia is fluent speech, good intonation, lexical errors, nonsense word, and comprehension impaired. And then the last is conduction aphasia. The symptoms of conduction aphasia is be able to understand and produce speech but cannot repeat what they have just heard. Maybe that's all for me. Thank you for your nice attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.